Welcome to my high voltage hustle.
Oh my god, 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 oh my god.
You'll see me bid on my parts car. And you'll see this gorgeous mini truck come alive. Well, before you start tearing it apart, stop. I'm Bailey. I'm an educator, builder, and DIYer. And in this series, you'll join me as I rip apart a Nissan Leaf and install its electric powertrain into a 79 Datsun mini truck. I've wired a lot of powertrains, but this will be my first EV swap from start to finish. Come watch me learn as I go and laugh at my mistakes. So plug in, grab some popcorn, and join the hustle. Ooh, servicing electric vehicles is so scary. Just kidding. However, I do want to remind you that if you don't know anything about manual service disconnects or how to de-energize a high voltage vehicle, please go back to episode 11 where I walk through the PPE that I'm wearing, what do I disconnect, how do I create an electrically safe work condition so that I can service and repair high voltage vehicles without wearing all that PPE. So if you didn't see that, it's not scary, but go back to episode 11 and watch that before we move on. So in this video, it is teardown time, baby. So we've already removed the battery from the Nissan Leaf. So now what I need to do is actually get rid of all the Freon in the HVAC system. I need to basically clean out all the plumbing so that I can take the radiator out, and then just some miscellaneous things around the engine area because I want to just make it easier for me to be able to remove components. So I'm just going to be getting rid of the charging ports and other things so that I can reach things easier. So let's go tear it down. Something that I didn't mention in my episode 11 before I dropped the battery out is how I kept the vehicle in neutral. So while everything is still powered on, I went ahead and shifted into neutral, and then I got out of the car and I unplugged the connector for the actuator so that it wasn't able to command the parking pawl back into park. And then I turned the vehicle off, and then I was able to drop the battery and maintain it in neutral at all times. So just wanted to show that because some people were asking me. Before I can remove anything related to the air conditioning, I have to deal with this refrigerant. So since this vehicle is still charged, releasing the refrigerant into the air is unsafe and it's illegal. Remember that. So the correct thing to do is to connect it to this air conditioning recovery machine. And then I'm also going to record how much refrigerant comes out of it. I think it ends up being 1.371 pounds. I want to have a ballpark reference for when it's time to charge the system again in the truck. And this step matters for a few reasons. It protects me from high pressure refrigerant exposure, it protects the environment, and it prevents damage to any of my AC components. So once the Freon recovery is complete, the system will have zero pressure, so it's totally safe to open and disconnect the lines and remove the components safely. The next thing that I'm going to do is label all of the harness for the Leaf because I want to harvest as much of those connectors and pieces as possible. So before I rip them off, I want to label them. So as soon as I unplug it from the headlamp or from the radiator fan, I want to make sure that I label it properly so that it's easier for me to find once I have this all uninstalled out of the Leaf. The next thing is that the charge port is just a huge thing right in the middle of the engine bay that I need to go ahead and remove. I want to be careful though, because at the time I was like, oh, maybe I'll reuse this door. I ended up not doing that, but I wanted to save it and keep it as intact as possible. So you can see here, I have both the J1772 plug as well as the CHAdeMO port. I'm only ending up using the J plug for level 1 and level 2 charging. But I'm going to hold on to the CHAdeMO just in case things change. The next step is to remove the wiper assembly and the motor. The little harness and the motor just kind of get in the way of the struts, so it'll make it easier for me to unbolt the struts later. All right, here we are. I have successfully removed the whole charging area in the front, and now you can see that the radiator is my next step. So I'm gonna sit here and take off all the plumbing and coolant lines, and then it's just about 6 bolts on the bottom to drop the radiator and its mount off the frame, but it's gonna take a while. I moved all of the wire harnesses out of the way, but you know, got a couple of hard things to get to in the plumbing, so I'll be over here doing this for a minute. All right, I think I've got most of the coolant drained out of this radiator, but I don't want any surprises. So on YouTube, I heard that this was the Russian way to make sure that all the coolant was drained. You blow it out. Ooh. Yeah, there was still some in there. All right, so I've taken this kind of main bracket off of here, and I've got 2 more coolant lines to flush. So there's one right there and another one down there. And what I'm gonna do is use this tool here to squeeze off the little bitch ass. Here, let me show you on this one. Squeeze off this, because I don't want to get these caught. I don't want my finger to get caught under that. So I'm gonna use a tool to do that. And then once I get those like pushed down like I did on this one, then I'm gonna go ahead and grab the tool right like this. And I'm just gonna like give it a little bit of a twist so that it comes off real nice and easy. So that's what we're gonna do to those 2 down there that are connected to the motor, and then I'll be ready to take the radiator off. All right, I got all the coolant lines out, and now I just need to disconnect this here so that I can reuse these hopefully. So I'm gonna disconnect these 2 right here because that connects to the side of the radiator, and then I'll be ready to drop this baby out. Yay, too bad I left that water pump just sitting on that radiator when I donated it. Had to buy another one. Womp womp. All right, time to remove the plastic that goes around the tire right here. So just got 1 or 2 left of these little plastic. I probably don't have to sit on the ground and do this, but honestly, now that I'm really starting to take things apart, wouldn't it be terrible if the motor fell out when it was really high up? So I've got it kind of close to the ground, and then of course I have some jack stands there near the motor just in case. Obviously this plastic connector is not going to be related to that, but safety first, I'd rather sit close to the ground. Be safe than sorry. It's not so bad sitting on the ground other than standing up all the time. This little connector, bitch. There it is. There she blow. I'm a pro. Bye now. The next step is to remove the wiper assembly and the motor. The little harness and the motor just kind of get in the way of the struts, so it'll make it easier for me to unbolt the struts later. So now that that wiper panel is removed, it's just easier to get to the back firewall as well as to the struts. We did it. We took the motor out. I'm so excited. Please come back next week because I want to go through all the EV components and terminology that you need to be successful in the EV industry, because like WTF is someone talking about when they LDL to ZVV with the MSD. So there's so many words. There's no standardization from car company to OEM, and I want to make sure that all that vocab is and component knowledge is clear to you as we start deeper diving into EV components. So see you next week. Give you a nice classroom lesson on the important EV terms that you need to know to start doing service and repair. Oh, I gotta film that again because I didn't use my microphone.